You know that moment, right? You're in a huge conversation, everything's clicking, and then you hear it, the but. That little hesitation that can feel like a brick wall. Well, today we're going to talk about how to see those objections not as a wall, but as a doorway into the most productive part of the conversation.
This right here is the big idea, the lens for everything we're about to cover. An objection is not a no. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a sign that the person is actually paying attention, they're engaged, and they're thinking seriously. They're just asking for a little help to connect the dots. It's basically an invitation to go deeper. So, you've got to get this out of your head. Your goal isn't to win the argument or handle the objection. No, your job is to be a guide. They have a legitimate doubt, and it's up to us to address it by painting a clearer, more compelling picture of what's possible.
Okay, let's dive into the first of four major doubts that, pretty much always come up. This is the 10,000-foot view, the big picture question. How does this thing actually fit with everything else we've got going on?
And this is what that doubt usually sounds like in the real world. Look, we're already using ChatGPT, we've got some other AI stuff. Why would we add another piece to this already complicated puzzle? And you know what? It's a completely fair question. It's not a dismissal, it's a request for you to show them why this is different. And here is a really powerful way to shift that entire conversation. See, this isn't about comparing a list of features. It's about a fundamental difference between a tool, which you have to constantly poke and prompt to get anything done, and a platform where autonomous agents actually go and do the work for you.
And that reframing leads to this much bigger, more exciting idea. We're not talking about just another one-off bot to handle one little task. We are talking about building an entire digital workforce, a system that can scale and run complex workflows across your whole company. Now that's a strategic fit.
So, the answer to that strategic doubt is a foundation resting on these three pillars. First, you're going from a bunch of scattered features to a truly unified workforce. Second, it's ready for the real world from day one with security and compliance baked right in. And third, and this is huge, it's open. It works with the tools and systems you're already using. No rip and replace.
All right, let's shift gears to the next big doubt. And it's the one that, let's be honest, everyone gets to eventually. The money. People need to know what the real, tangible, bottom-line impact is going to be.
And you'll hear it phrased almost exactly like this. Okay, this sounds pretty cool. Maybe a little too cool. What's the actual ROI here? They're interested, but they're also skeptical. They're literally asking you to help them build the business case they'll need to sell this internally.
When they ask you to build that case, sometimes the best place to start is with a single, incredibly powerful number. 20x. Just let that sink in. We're talking about an hour of productive work being delivered at a cost that is 20 times lower than a human employee. Now that's a number that gets people's attention. And 20x isn't just some abstract number. You can see it, you can feel it in the real world. For your support teams, it's response times dropping from hours down to seconds. For sales, it's every single lead getting qualified the instant it comes in. For operations, it's seeing over half of all tickets get resolved without a human ever touching them. That's where the value becomes undeniable.
And finally, let's tackle the pricing model itself, because this is a huge pain point. Most per-seat models literally punish you for being successful. The more people you add, the higher your bill. A modern approach flips that on its head. Cost is tied directly to value. When your usage goes up, it's because you're getting more done. Your success and your cost move in lockstep.
Okay, now for what might just be the single biggest hurdle in the entire world of AI today, trust and safety. This is about security, it's about data privacy, and it's about that nagging fear. Is this thing just going to make stuff up?
This question right here gets to the heart of the fear. I mean, think about it. Giving a new system access to your company's most sensitive data is a massive leap of faith. And everyone has heard the horror stories about AI hallucinating and just confidently giving wrong answers.
So a rock-solid answer here is built in layers, like a fortress. It has to start with security at the architectural level. Your data is encrypted and access controlled by default. Then you add a layer of compliance, meeting the highest standards like SOC 2 and GDPR. And the final layer? Total transparency. You can see and audit every single thing that happens. It's enterprise-grade from the ground up.
And to tackle that fear of inaccuracy, it's all about creating a system of checks and balances. It's not a black box. You start with clean, AI-ready data. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Then you build in a continuous human feedback loop so the system is always learning. And you wrap all of that in central oversight, giving you the power to monitor and ensure quality.
But honestly, the ultimate key to trust really comes down to this one simple concept. You own your stuff. You own your data, you own your workflows. Because it's all built on open standards, there is no vendor lock-in. You're not trapped. You get all the power of the platform without giving up control. That's what true ownership is all about. Okay, on to our final category of doubt. And this one is all about the messy, practical reality of actually getting things done. It's the, is this going to be another soul-crushing project that drains all our resources doubt? Anyone who's worked in a company for more than 5 minutes has felt this pain. We all have scars from those IT projects that drag on forever and ever. So the moment you say new platform, you can almost see their defenses shoot up. It's a totally natural reaction.
And the absolute best way to dissolve that fear is with a clear, concrete, and fast timeline. We are not talking about some multi-year slog. We are talking about a pilot program that starts showing real, provable value within just a few weeks. That makes the whole thing feel not just manageable, but exciting.
But what about training everyone? The secret here is to completely reframe it. You're not training a system. You are onboarding a new digital employee. And just like any great new hire, you put in a little bit of time up front, and the long-term payoff is just exponential.
And finally, the question of adoption. How do you make sure people will actually use it? Well, it's not magic. It's a really simple formula. You find a high-value problem that's a real pain point, and you solve it with an incredibly simple interface. When you nail those two things, high adoption isn't just a goal, it's pretty much guaranteed. So as we wrap all this up, it really brings us full circle. Mastering these tough conversations isn't about memorizing a bunch of clever comebacks. It's about a fundamental shift in your mindset. It's about seeing things differently.
And that leaves me with this one final thought for you to take away. The next time you hear a customer push back or raise a doubt, I want you to pause. And instead of seeing a roadblock, ask yourself this. What is the deeper, more strategic conversation they are secretly inviting me to have right now? Because that's where the magic really happens.